The big news on Lee's side is the debut handed to cornerback Niall O'Leary. The 21-year-old didn't play a single game in the Allianz League, while Tim O'Mahony has cemented his place in the number 6 jersey. But there's more dramatic news. Bill Cooper cannot start with a muscle injury, and coming into the side as a late replacement is Robbie O'Flynn. Liam Sheedy has stayed loyal to 11 of the team that started the 2016 All-Ireland final on his return to championship management. Surprisingly, none of last year's under-21 All-Ireland winning team have made the starting 15. The atmosphere is electric. What will be the latest chapter? Red and white, blue and gold, Rebels against Premier. Game on. Good hands. Seamus Harnett, the leader of this Cork hurling team as the 2019 championship begin, and he's leading by example. First score of the match.
And he is that, Marty, injured last year, hampered, particularly against Limerick. He was injured before that, but that's a great score. That's what he does. He's very strong in the air, and great start for him.
Tim O'Mahony played full forward for the Cork Miners a few years ago, converted to centre half back, and he's doing well. Comes out to the other captain, Jamie Callanan, going for the glory, going for the shot. It's in the back of the net. Wonderful score, lighting up the atmosphere here in Páirc Uí Chaoimh.
Nobody picked up Callanan, playing at centre half forward, ghosted in behind, and a great start for Tip.
Crossfield ball is a good one. Nice work by John McGrath. McGrath on the turn, he's looking sharp.
And that's what Ronan Maher brings to the team. He might be lacking a little bit of pace, but just that little flick of the wrist, the diagonal ball crossfield, McGrath on the move, picked it up and made it look very simple. Fitzgibbon making a little bit of space for himself. Spreads it out to the far over wing, but Cork just seem to be malfunctioning up front, and Tipperary coming to terms as they go for the long, high, dropping ball. 3 against 3 here. Ball is still available. Owen Callaghan gets in there. Here comes Jamie Callanan. Callanan is causing problems in the early stages, and that's over the bar. Yeah, that's a great passage of play there. There was a great tackling, blocking, hooking, and Callanan, look at the little flick out between Tim O'Mahony's legs and over the bar, and fantastic contest so far, Marty. Great heart from both teams, but Tipperary settled really well.
Towards Shane Kingston, one on this occasion, and the referee deems that it was an illegal challenge. Sean O'Brien is questioning the decision. Opportunity again for Patrick Horgan, and Tipperary will know it themselves. They don't need you or I to say it, but they need to stop fouling when you're playing somebody like Patrick Horgan, who puts them over for fun. 6 points for the Cork full forward. Daniel Carney, who's been producing the goods for Cork for many a year, and a man that never played minor for Cork, but is a superstar at senior level. As the ball comes out to Patrick Horgan unmarked, it's his first point from play. This is more like it by the Leesiders. 7 point in the match. Cork have now scored 6 points without reply. They're back in the match. Nicely picked up by Brendan Maher. Maher giving it into the centre. Fires another Maher, no relation. Bonner Maher fires Jamie Callanan. Ball into the space. There's an opportunity here for Niall O'Mara, and across comes Niall O'Leary. And Niall O'Mara has never scored a championship goal, and the referee is giving a penalty.
Watch it here now, the hand across straight in, pushing the back.
That to me is a penalty, Michael.
It's a penalty all day long.
Jason Ford. Anthony Nash saves! Full credit to the keeper, although my initial instinct is that Jason Ford didn't really connect properly. But 10 out of 10 to the former All-Star goalkeeper from 2012 and 2013. They go for the long ball. Up towards Jamie Callanan and company. Good work here by Niall O'Mara, bursting his way forward, and that's gone over the bar. Niall O'Mara has yet to score a goal in championship hurling, but he is well capable of scoring points. In fact, so far through his career, he's scored 8 points. This is his 9th. Picked up by Jamie Callanan. Ball inside. Nice ball. John O'Dwyer, beautiful ball. Here comes the shot, and it's back of the net.
What a goal!
A fantastic goal for Tipperary. An absolute peach. Magical by John McGrath.
when Tip were in their prime under Shea and under Mick Ryan, when Eamon O'Shea was involved, that's the type of goal. Look at the vision, look at this for a ball, but look at McGrath, the coolness of him, had a little look and buried in the back of the net. That is a fantastic goal.
Brendan Maher comes across, and Tipperary are on fire now. An absolute fantastic score by John O'Dwyer. It's his 5th point of the game, and each and every one of them are a little bit different, each and every one of them a little bit special. Anthony Nash again going long, but they're winning the balls down that side of the field, and here comes Tipperary once more. Pumping it, and pumping it over the bar.
And we've seen brilliant scores in this match, but that is the best score. What a man, Brendan Maher, just back from a serious injury. Look at this, and Cork must be looking at a different game than we're looking at. They keep hooking the ball down on top of him, and he keeps winning it.
Batted away slightly by Pádraig Maher. Comes back over towards Aidan Walsh, picked up by Seamus Harnedy. He has to pull the trigger. Oh, back in the net! Seamus Harnedy, the captain of Cork.
A beautiful flick up, and look at the finish to the corner of the net. Give Brian Hogan absolutely no chance. What a game it's been. First round of the championship is just an incredible game, end to end.
Paul Barrett picks up the loose sliotar, sends it back into the Cork half of the field. Sean O'Donoghue tries to get a touch to it first. Good work here by Shamie Calnan. 2 Cork lads pursue him, and Calnan, so experienced, so cool under pressure, gives him a personal tally of a goal and 4 points. As Tipperary come away with it, and come away from Páirc Uí Chaoimh on the banks of the River Lee with a victory. A pulsating, interesting contest, at times quite dramatic. Some of the scores were just fantastic. It ends with a victory for Tipperary, full-time score in Páirc Uí Chaoimh. It's Cork, 1 goal, 24 points. Tipperary, 2 goals, 28.
The one thing I have is a very, very competitive panel, so I suppose the beauty about this is that they were well tested. You know, we have got a fabulous group of under-21s coming, and you know, these guys are really pushing them to the pin of their collar. So overall, it was the competitiveness that we've seen, and guys were picked on merit, and you know, I think they showed today what they can do when they're in full flow. And as I said, full credit to Cork. They came at us numerous times, but thankfully we hung on in the finish.
We were too reliant on Patrick, and you know, like we missed Bill Cooper. You know, and normally our midfield comes in with 4 or 5 points. So you know, that was a miss there, but you know, Tipperary just looked more fluent, you know, more mobile than us there in the second half, and you know, that's it.
We're leaving Cork this evening with really, really good momentum, and we'll go back and do what we do best Tuesday and Friday and get our bodies right, and look to bring I suppose a performance into Thurles next Sunday, because if we don't, we'll still be on 2 points.
Well, to reflect on that now, with us in studio are Donlow Cusack and Henry Shefflin. And Henry, a lot of people questioned Liam Sheedy's loyalty to the older established players because they haven't achieved a lot, arguably, in the last year.
I think they would have been right, because if they'd have stayed doing what they were doing the last couple of years, it wouldn't have been good enough. But you just seen him speak there. He's a very focused individual, a very driven individual. But more so than anything else, and knowing from Liam working here with him, he's a great team player. So his first job is to get the team working together. Now, what I mean by that, I mean the players and the backroom staff. And I think all we need to do is look at John Bubbles on the wire today. The minute we saw him, you know, he scored 7 points, but how lean he was looking, how fit he was looking, and how hungry he was. And that's not just Liam, that's Liam, the strength and conditioning coach, the dietitian. So Liam has brought all those pieces together, and the individuals are obviously performing. So the players needed to change themselves, but he has helped them to change.
You mentioned Bubbles, and you were very taken with the whole Tipperary forward division.
Yeah, we know they're very skillful players, but sometimes they can be very individualistic and they can just go for their own scores. So I think it's to get that teamwork between them, to use the ball in different areas of the field and the man in the better position. I think we've seen that today. So here's just a couple of points. I talked about his fitness. This is just right near the end of the game. Look at him busting at the ball. Seamus Callan working hard, throwing the ball off. Tip will do this, they'll hurt you. Watch this, I just wanted to show their movements, right? This is Seamus Callan. We've tracked him with a high behind it on the side of the camera. Look at his movement. It's a sharp puck out from Tip. We haven't seen that much of it before. They're using the ball. Now we just highlight Seamus here. Now this shows Cork's porous defence obviously as well. But Seamus ran from one side of the field to the other. Tip worked hard to turn over the ball. 9 hours. Here's his vision. He slips. Cork gets sucked in. And like here's Seamus Callan just strolling in for the goal. But this is just showcases Cork's poor defence, but as well, it's tips movements. They can just drift all over the place. Here's a short line ball. These two lads, we talk about wrist work and vision. Look at that, just Bubbles, Noel McGrath, back to Bubbles, back over the bar. And Tip have that. But I think John Myler said at the end, Tip looked very mobile, very quick. We haven't been saying that the last few years. So they're in great condition and we're very hungry and they have serious hurlers. And that's why they scored what they scored today. Yeah, massive.
What about Cork, Donald? John Myler had no complaints after it. Was the Cork defence under pressure for a lot of the game?
Yeah, look, I think you have to admit that the better team won on the day by far the better team, and I think that Cork will be disappointed on a number of things, and definitely defensively they will be. It's been well flagged coming into the game, even though you did have maybe more talk about the possibility for Cork to move around the Tipperary half-back line. It was probably Cork's half-back line was their biggest problem, because I thought, to be fair to young Niall O'Leary, I thought he fought hard, I thought Owen Callaghan fought hard as well. But they'll be very disappointed about certain aspects of the game, and I think 1 point defensively highlights that we're just going to look at here. So I'm just going to highlight Bubbles Dwyer here, okay? Just want people to watch him and watch this movement here, right? And also watch the two Cork players that get dragged out into play. It's like as if they don't know that he's there. We were looking at this today, and we actually had to go back in it a couple of times just to really look at the amount of space.
You couldn't believe the space, is it?
Exactly, and I don't think Bubbles could believe it himself. At one stage, Anthony Nash is looking out, and he's probably thinking, should I actually come out and mark myself? And this is one of the best players that exists in the game. And then, once Cork realise the danger, it's way too late. You see the Cork players, they're going to scramble back, but at that stage, it's, as I said, too late. I don't want to take away from the pass. What a pass to John McGrath, real Tip-esque, if you like, and an outstanding finish. But, you know, from a Cork point of view, I think there's going to have to be a lot of soul-searching defensively done over the next week. Having said that, on the other side, I think a real positive was Patrick Horgan. Needs to be called out. Some of the points he got were for the ages. His wrist work, he'd get a shot off and a score from inside the telephone box, right and left. The big problem for Cork was that he was actually on his own today.
Yeah, John Myler said they were over-reliant on him. Yeah.
Overly reliant on Patrick Horgan. What would happen today that he's not going to be there? I know Seamus Harnedy pipped in with a score, but didn't get enough out of Seamus, and definitely didn't get enough support for Patrick, and it's worrying for Cork going forward.
As well as defensively, it's their forwards, I don't think, are working hard enough. So I think we're going to show the Tip we're working harder, and I think the defence is definitely under pressure. But they're no ball winners, they're not forwards, they're not tracking back, they're not working hard enough. So there's so much concession of ball going down, and Tip are going to punish you.
Henry, a good friend of mine today, said it was like as if Cork came to spare and Tipperary came to fight in Páirc Uí Chaoimh.
Yeah. So you said to me during the game, this has Liam Sheedy's hands all over this Tip performance. Show us what you mean.
Well, Liam Sheedy and his management team, I think. So basically, I think first of all, he needed defensively to get it right. James Barry, who did make the championship team last year, was back. Doesn't do anything stylish, but is solid back there. The three Mars in the half-back line were just immense all day. They each got a point from play. This man has been a leader. Hunger, that desire to get in. And here's Seamus Callaghan, who was doing it all during the league. Brendan Mark kicking with his feet. They're not giving up. That's a new Tip for me we haven't seen the last few years. Here's William Carney getting the ball. 4 Tipperary swarming him. Wouldn't be known for that work rate. And then here we go. We know the vision. Noel McGrath, Don Logan showed the goal there, and that's it. And with all that attitude and work rate, it's their positional sense. So they set up inside. This is Eamon O'Shea, Tommy Dunn working behind the scene. 2 Tipperary lads highlighted inside the 6-yard per lamb, leaving loads and oceans of space for Tipperary. And I think we would have been saying Tipperary the last couple of years, they didn't use the space, they were very one-dimensional. That setup, that structure aligns itself to open, skillful hurlers. And if you bring the work rate with it, you bring the attitude, you create the space, well, then there's only going to big scores again is what's created. So I think we can talk about the work rate all we want, and Liam would have spoken about that during the week. He wanted that from his players, but there's a lot of work going on behind the scenes as well, and you can see that being implemented today.
It's a huge fill-up for Tipperary. Tipperary actually don't have a good record coming down to Páirc Uí Chaoimh in championship games over the years, Des. So that's a big boost to them going forward. Having said that, Cork heading to Limerick next week, I wouldn't write Cork off, because I can imagine what that dressing room and that training field is going to be. There's not going to be any mess in there.
Well, it gives us lots to look forward to, and we've more to look forward to after a quick break. We'll be heading to the sunny southeast.